Houlihan's painting party. This ain't your daddy's painting class. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mary Houlihan.
Hello. Oh. Hello. Can you hear my soundboard?
Oh yeah, it's a little quiet, but we hear it.
Oh, nice. Okay. Hello, welcome to Mary Houlihan's painting party. Or actually, maybe it's the Mary Houlihan show. I don't know. Hi, Slappy Phil. Hi, Danny over here. Hi, Single Walk Run. So, yeah, today we're not painting. Today I am virtually in my talk show studio because I have the illustrious, fantastic guest, Taylor Lorenz. Woo!
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I think everyone who watches knows who you are. So Taylor is a tech journalist, and she's always getting attacked by insane people on Threads and Twitter.
Sometimes I deserve it, probably.
Whatever. We all deserve it sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have been reporting on Section 230. And I was watching your live the other day about it, and you were like, oh my God, why is Joseph Gordon-Levitt trying to censor the internet? And I thought it was really interesting and funny and scary and had a lot of overlap with things that I complain about all the time, which is celebs not knowing that they're doing evil things. Let's just say evil things.
Yeah, it's very evil. To repeal Section 230 is bad. It's very bad.
But these well-meaning celebs who like think they're doing a good thing. So tell us what's the deal.
So Section 230 is the most important law on the internet. It's sort of colloquially, I keep mispronouncing that word, known. Also, I can't see myself anymore. Am I still here?
You're here.
Okay. So, oh my God, I have so much drama with StreamYard all the time for some reason. Okay, it just says save PDF. Okay, I hope you can see me. Anyway,
We can see you.
So Section 230 is the most important law on the internet. It's basically like known as the First Amendment for the internet for a reason. It protects the, user-generated content. It is the reason you can leave a negative review on Yelp. It's the reason you can leave a book review somewhere. It's the reason there's comment sections on websites. It's basically ensures that you as the speaker of content are treated as a speaker, and that the platform is not held liable for your speech. This is so important, because if platforms were held liable for user speech, they would mass censor. They would only publish speech that is not, going to get them in any sort of like legal trouble. So they're not going to publish anything critical of power. They're not going to allow for any, criticism of really anybody. It's just going to be like just dumb sort of slop all day. So we want free speech online, and Section 230 is crucial to it. It's the 30th anniversary of Section 230 this month. And for as long as it's existed, we've had these far-right religious fundamentalists and other people that don't believe in free speech online want to sort of dismantle it. And for whatever reason, I mean, this is actually quite core. This is the core of Project 2025's tech policy agenda, is dismantling Section 230. If you've ever heard of a law called FOSTA SESTA, that was the first and only amendment to Section 230, the major amendment that basically created this carve out for content that would sort of help sex trafficking. What it did, content that would it was about removing content, facilitating sex trafficking from the internet. What it did is actually, according to some studies, put 10% of all sex workers in America, Sesta Fosta made them homeless. It actually made it devastating for abuse victims. It made it significantly harder to find any sort of human trafficking on the internet. And it led to the mass censorship of adult content. This is why Tumblr banned porn back in 2018, and mass deplatforming of LGBTQ content and reproductive justice content online. So I feel like I'm talking in circles, but basically Section 230 is really important. You should do everything you can to we do not want to amend it in any way. We have to protect it. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, for whatever reason, wants to dismantle it.
Sure. I think people remember Fosta Sesta. If not, I remember when this was happening and I would see ads all the time of like, I don't remember if she did it, but I want to say Dax Shepard's wife probably did
Kristen
one.
Bell.
Yes.
Yeah, and they got a lot of celebrities involved.
Because they go to these celebrities and they say, we're making PSAs to protect kids from getting abused. And then they say, oh my God, yes, I love kids.
Well, they've endangered tens of thousands, if not, hundreds of thousands of children now.
Exactly.
And to the point that these lawmakers that pass Fosta Sesta don't even want to associate it, won't answer questions about it. They want to act like it never happened. And I think it's a scarlet letter. I think there should be trials for people that passed it. Personally, I think it's like one of the worst pieces of legislation we've seen really maybe since like the Patriot Act. But
yeah. And it seems obvious, like me and Forrest were just talking about this before the show. We were looking at the Heritage Foundation's website and their stated goals. And like, it sounds like when they use the code words, we're protecting kids from trafficking or protecting kids from sexual content. They want you to picture like the worst child molestation. What they actually mean, though, is like, we don't want trans kids to see a get ready with me video of a just regular trans person and know, oh, I could be a trans grown up.
I mean,
like,
they just
that's
declared
more
the Super Bowl.
What they're
that would be a lot. They declared the Super Bowl halftime show that just happened last weekend pornographic content.
That's insane. So we wouldn't be able to watch that regular primetime TV type a musical performance. That would be pornographic to them.
Anything that's not Christian nationalist content is sort of pornographic content. I mean, sex ed content, of course, LGBTQ content, of course, but also content about feminism, also content, like, again, anything that's not like hardcore Christian nationalist is pornographic. And if there's a bunch of girls twerking in front of Bad Bunny, that's pornographic. But it's just all based on like extreme far right fundamentalism. And why Joseph Gordon-Levitt has chosen to align himself with these people is beyond me. He seems to know nothing. He did a follow-up video today, which I'm posting a sort of takedown of tomorrow, but like he doesn't know, he's never engaged with this issue. And
I was curious what your take was of this because, okay, so.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I'm here to talk about Section 230.
Can I just say one thing?
Video
the crazy hold big tech accountable. Do you know who's one of the biggest lobbyers? Do you know the reason that Fosta Sesta passed? The reason that Fosta Sesta passed in the end was because Meta lobbied so hard for it and Sheryl Sandberg lobbied to get it through.
Exactly.
Not only did Meta produce a white paper arguing that Section 230 should be repealed, but they published blog posts. They had their VP of product write about this. Mark Zuckerberg has advocated for this. They have run ads in Washington advocating. Big tech wants to repeal Section 230 because if they repeal Section 230, they can pre-screen. They've invested in massive AI systems. And this is all coming to a head right now because of AI. They can pre-screen every single piece of content with AI. So they don't care. They would love, they're like, fine, our business models don't depend on free speech. They depend on data harvesting. And if we have to pre-screen every piece of content, we can harvest massive amounts of data. You know who can't do that stuff? Who can't pre-screen every single piece of content for legal liability? Like forums for cancer patients, forums for Alcoholics Anonymous, support groups, like forums for LGBTQ youth, like all of these other like the internet is vast. It's not just like Meta and Google, although that's how they want it to be. So for him to say all of this under the handle of hold big tech accountable is like, it's just disgusting.
Yeah. And it's like the phrase hold big big tech accountable, and it's obviously funded by big tech itself. And it's like, use your brains, people. Like, they have think tanks, they hire marketers and advertising. Of course, they're going to come up with great names for anything that's bad.
Well, yeah, it's like the Patriot Act or something.
Yes,
it's like
exactly.
They name everything like the Freedom and We Love America Act, and it's like the biggest assault on our civil liberties, that we've ever seen.
So I was curious because I just watched his update video where he's basically saying everyone was frying me in the comments, but here's what I actually mean.
Well, you know what was so offensive to me about that video? Mm-hmm. So first of all, he's immediately backtracking. And the first thing he says in that video is like, well, I didn't mean Section 230 repeal. By the way, the act is called the Sunset Section 230 Act. It's about repealing. He got up on stage and yelled to the senators, I want to see this pass 100-0, as in I want to. He said, that's what he said about Section 230 repeal. Yeah. So now he's very quickly backtracking and saying, oh, I just meant reform, which is, by the way, what they all claim. He's so delusional in that whole video. He says, like, we've never reformed Section 230. He doesn't even know about FOSTA SESTA. Yes. He doesn't know it exists. He's like, we've never reformed it. We've never whatever. I'm like, what are you what? But then he reveals why in that video, why he has these beliefs. And he's like, I read this paper by 3 people, including one AI-pilled Jeffrey Epstein affiliated like AI guy and the like digital minister of Taiwan or something. Like people.
Yes, well, because he mentioned something about Jaron Lanier, who I like, and so I was like, what does Taylor make of this? Because I guess Jaron Lanier co-wrote something. Okay, which I read it and I couldn't even gather what it was saying.
Is this not the guy that is the AI guy
with the dreads?
I think it is. Yes, the futurist. Yes. And listen, if he wants to do his like, he does like VR stuff and he's like a futurist guy. That's fine. Go do that. You have absolutely no knowledge or understanding of speech law. And let me tell you why. Mm-hmm. If you actually read that deranged paper, which is like flat earther level pseudoscience, like none of these people are legal scholars. None of these people are lawyers. Like they are just, this is crazy. That the first thing they say, the second paragraph actually of their paper that he cites says, we need to stop protecting Section 230 because it's allowing for CSAM. We need to hold these platforms accountable because of CSAM. First of all, in Section 230, there is but Section 230 doesn't protect big platform from criminal liability for speech. Like, what are you talking about? It's like if people post illegal content online, they can be prosecuted for that.
Right. Yes.
And also, like, the whole pretense of it is, I mean, there's so many things wrong with what they wrote. I also want to say Jared Lanier wrote a piece, co-wrote, I think, with one of these other people in Wired, saying that actually, basically we should use the First Amendment, which is like, it's just an extension of First Amendment protections to the internet, first of all. And second of all, Section 230 allows these platforms to regulate more than just the First Amendment. Because if you just hate speech is protected by the First Amendment, explicit hate speech is protected by the First Amendment. So do we want platforms to do content moderation based on the First Amendment? What are you talking about? That would make the whole internet. No, I want them to actually prevent hateful stuff that is legal speech, but that is like legal. I mean, a lot of spam is legal speech. Spam is legal speech. I mean, frankly, you can market and advertise all you want in a spammy way, but we don't. But so platforms shouldn't be able to regulate that because that's he doesn't seem to have any understanding. And I will say, I emailed a very famous First Amendment lawyer today, and I sent him this, and he said, I am not even wasting my time with these people. These are not serious people. These are literally the equivalent, I'm calling them flat earthers. He just was like, I cannot even, he was like, this is like reading some scribbles from, a child. Like, they're not engaged in this issue at all, and they have no basic understanding of the law. I don't even think they've read the law.
And then we were looking at this on the Heritage Foundation's website. It says they want to empower parents in education. We know what that means. Protect the unborn. We obviously know what that means. Secure America's borders. Counter the threat of communist China. Hold big tech accountable.
Well, he's got their slogan right there in front of him while he's up on stage.
Exactly. And so the obvious thing is like all these people are so mad at TikTok for having free speech about Gaza. And so they're ruining the entire internet because of that, because they don't want kids to learn about Gaza, to learn that trans adults are living happy lives, that gay adults are living happy lives. And I have seen, like, I'm a comedian and like an actor. In the past couple of years, there's been times that I've seen comedians and actors post screeds or share articles about how TikTok is so horrible. And I'm like, they're saying this because of Gaza. Like, they're not saying that out loud, but that's the whole reason this article
Well, they
is
did
written.
say it out loud. Let's not forget the co-sponsors of the TikTok ban, Warner and Gallagher, said that out loud at the Munich Security Conference last February. They said, we banned TikTok because of Gaza. And then Mitt Romney came out and said it as well. Like, they are saying it.
But then I see these comedians and actors who are, just kind of stupid. They don't really do any research. And then they share this stuff about TikTok is so addictive. We need to put a stop to. And honestly, the whole reason they're upset is because they don't have that many followers and other people have gotten famous on TikTok. That's really the only reason they don't like it. And unwittingly, they're like spreading pro-Israel propaganda that like we have to shut down this app. And that has driven me crazy. And it's been like really hard to talk about, because if you call this out, you'll look like a hater, or, what are you doing? You're accusing someone of, so it's just, I've been trying to talk more shit and more normalize, like, guys, if we see crazy stuff, we need to call it out, instead of being like, well, I want to work with Joseph Gordon-Levitt one day, so I shouldn't say anything.
I mean, I don't care if I ever work with Joseph Gordon-Levitt one day, so I don't have to work in the entertainment industry, thank God, because if these are the types of people that I had to interact with, and talk to tech policy about, I would kill myself. Like, it's just, it bothers me so much, because I'm just like, these are the same people that when the Jimmy Kimmel stuff happened, all these, entertainment people come out of the woodwork to sign this letter of, we want free speech, we stand by the free speech. And then, as you mentioned, you turn around and you're like, okay, so do you support, strengthening Section 230? Do you support, like, are you going to fight for this or this? Oh, no. Oh, right. Like, and it's like, it's just like, it's so lame. It's like, okay, so then just don't, whatever, then don't say anything harmful. If you want to sign a free speech pledge and you ultimately don't really, you're never going to do activism on the show, I'm like, whatever, right? Like, you're not really ultimately doing harm. But with someone like this, I'm just like, okay, so you've actually also admitted in your follow-up video that you've never spoken to a single legal scholar on this issue. You've never even spoken to a lawyer to talk about this law. You've never spoken, by the way, like, what pisses me off too, and I was talking to a trans woman who runs, one of these activist groups today. He's never spoken to a single, like, he says in that video, his follow-up video today, the reason that, Section 230 reform has failed, which again, he doesn't know about FOSTA SESTA, crazy. But then he says the reason that Section 230 has always failed is because of big tech, advocacy. The reason it's failed is because trans people, sex workers, disabled people, people that are harmed by this have put their lives on the line. They've showed up at the Capitol. They've literally done everything to kill these efforts time and time again. And unfortunately, we're not successful. And we saw what happened with FOSTA SESTA. Again, 10% of sex workers going into homelessness, and skyrocketing rates of sex trafficking and all this stuff happening because of this. And then you have the gall to get up there. And then my favorite, one other thing I just have to vent.
Sure, yeah.
My favorite other line, we've got to get big tech. Then he's like, oh, I didn't mean reform. I didn't mean repeal. Yeah, I guess I was up there shouting, saying that the repeal should, but I actually just meant reform. Okay, and then because we have to get reform, because we have to get big tech to the negotiating table. This made me lose my mind, because all big tech does is negotiate. Big tech, Google and Meta are two of the biggest lobbyists in Washington. They spend all day on the Hill negotiating. Right now, they're trying to negotiate all of these identity verification bills. All they do is negotiate. with lawmakers because they don't want to be regulated. So it's like, what are you talking about? You don't need to threaten to remove all trans people and criticism of ICE from the internet and destroy free speech and destroy the internet to get big tech to negotiate with you, something that they literally do that they like spend billions of dollars doing.
Yeah.
He's so bad.
Yeah, it's hard to know if he's stupid or if he's mastermindy, trying to be evil. You seem from your live to think that he's probably just stupid.
I think he's an idiot, although I think the AI stuff is weird. Like, apparently he was at this like big party recently with Grimes, and he hangs out with Grimes, and he's like hangs out with all these people that are like the because he's a big effective altruist, which is like the really weird ideology that a lot of people in Silicon Valley have, that basically says like, it doesn't matter as much harm, you can do as much harm as you want in our lifetime as long as you're helping like future generations. So you can like, exploit factory workers and kill, hundreds of people with your brain implants, as long as that's sort of bettering, humanity. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt spoke at the Effective Altruism Conference in 2017. He's heavily involved in that movement. It was hanging out with Ayala, the red-pilled, super right-wing OnlyFans, Silicon Valley's like OnlyFans star or whatever. So like who's very AI pilled, like he's very much in these like weird reactionary circles. So just knowing that makes me like wonder if it's deeper than him. I'm sure he's an idiot either way, but like, is he an idiot that's also being fed reactionary rhetoric from these people? Like, I don't think it came out of nowhere.
I think what I assume is some of these people just their egos are very delicate, and it would be so easy to just go up to them and say, you're such a good guy and you always stand up for awesome causes. We would love for you to be the face. And they would just be like so flattered and like, oh my God, of course, without reading like anything about it.
He's also a Zionist, apparently, according to Reverse Engineering Mission. So I think there's that aspect too. So I think we've seen what Zionism.
And you mentioned earlier that Amy Schumer used to be the face of this whole thing. I guess they let go of her for being too obvious in what the game is.
I don't think they let go of her. I think she would probably still support this. There's this, I tweeted this earlier today, but like, this is what, this was Amy Schumer. This is what she was. Oh, you can't see it. It says amend CDA to amend
Good
section.
Lord.
It's just like this, like
because
corny
she cares so
PSA.
much about internet.
She cares so much about free speech. But the Zionists have been on this train along with the Heritage Foundation. Like these people want to censor the internet. Again, they got TikTok banned. Like, so of course Amy Schumer is doing ads calling for it. Like, I expect her to be at the scene of the crime, like, because she always is. But
sure.
But Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I'm just like, where did you come from? And seeming to have no ideology behind any of it. He's like, I read this post by these discredited weirdo people who have no background on this issue, and it convinced me to get in front of Congress and say that senators should vote this and use my platform. Like, crazy.
And like, I saw like in his recent update video, he was saying like, that these algorithms are so crazy. The algorithms
he made
are
up
the problem.
No. He made up his own thing. He's like, well, if an algorithm, then it counts as commercial speech or something. Like he seems to like, I was talking to a lawyer about this today. And they were like, oh, they think that he like picked up on this one concept where he's misunderstanding sort of the word commercial in sort of the liability sense. And so he's sort of applying it, and he thinks commercial means like for profit or something, like in this other sense. So like he just like, again, talk to a single lawyer, just one lawyer would just like anybody could clear this up for him very easily. But so he's sort of created his own definitions. And let me just be clear. Algorithms have always been part of the internet. Prodigy and CompuServe, the two original cases that led to Section 230, had algorithms. They algorithmically ranked content. This has always been like, what are you talking about? And also, it drives me crazy with these people. Sorry, last thing. I get like so mad about it. But like this idea, he also was like, platforms used to be neutral. the whole point of Section 230 is acknowledging that they are not neutral and protecting their ability to not be neutral. So Prodigy, which is what there's Prodigy and CompuServe, the two sort of big internet providers in the 90s, both of them were sued, and that's what led to Section 230. With Prodigy, basically what happened is a whistleblower that was whistleblowing on the Wolf of Wall Street, of all people, was like, hey, by the way, the Wolf of Wall Street's a scammer, and his whole like thing is like a scam, and so don't invest with him. He sued Prodigy, being like, how dare you publish this defamatory whistleblower on your forum? Prodigy was like, we don't know what goes on in our forums. We only censor like some stuff because it's kid friendly. So we're taking away like blatantly illegal content. But like, and basically, Section 230 protected the whistleblower's ability to go online and say this man is right, which ended up being completely true, creating, doing scams. But like the idea that these platforms were like neutral or that these editorial decisions were neutral is delusional. And they were all algorithmically ranked back then as well. So like very, very rudimentary algorithms that were essentially, very similar to reverse cron. But like, it's just, he has no, and I'm not expecting everyone to be like a tech reporter that's covered it for 15 years, but it's like you are out here telling senators what to do with your platform, pushing this to millions of people, and you don't know basic internet history. You don't know the most foundational internet history. It's actually so egregious.
So he's like fear-mongering and saying these things that kind of on their face might sound true if you don't think about it for more than a couple seconds. Like he says, these algorithms create like an environment for conspiracy theories, or they make people so
conspiracy theories like what Gaza, people in Palestine are being murdered. Exactly.
But,
and also, what's so crazy is if he actually had a problem with algorithms, why is he supporting a law that would mandate more data harvesting? The way to mitigate the effect of algorithms is to seize back control of our data and to pass comprehensive data privacy reforms so that these tech platforms can't target us with increasingly sort of like, content that's targeted to like trigger us at the right moment, at the right time, and sell us on things and keep us up. Like, that's why we need data privacy reform. That is the exact opposite of what he's advocating for. And here's another thing with his whole thing. Big tech, harmful. But these people are so two-faced because when you press them on it, you're like, well, what about, what about 4chan? What about Kiwi Farms? What about these hate sites that are some of the most virulent, evil hate sites, right, that you could imagine? There are these online forums and communities that actually don't have algorithmic ranking at all. They have just basically very sort of reverse cron function, which itself is an algorithm, but like, they're very bare bones. They don't have these social feeds in the same way. They're not often even video. We're seeing the rise of like looks maxing from these hyper misogynistic hate forums. Those hyper misogynistic hate forums, they don't meet the bar for what you're talking about. Like if you say you just want to censor big tech and like, oh, I run Hit Record. That's this small website that like, but small websites shouldn't deserve, protections. It's like, okay, but where we see the radicalization happening on the internet is actually from these small websites. It's from these small forums. So like, what are you even talking about? Like this is why we need comprehensive laws that account for everything so that we can have a safer internet for everyone, not just the whole thing is so stupid.
I just want to point out that like so much of this stuff is like obviously paid for by Meta, because just like anecdotally as a user of these apps, and most people I talk to agree that like on TikTok, before the sale of TikTok, the conversations were not as heated as you would find on Meta apps or Twitter or any kind of American app. You would see more like left and right, like insane fighting and death threats. Whereas TikTok, all the time, I would see very thoughtful videos where someone could lay out like very nuanced ideas of, I used to believe this ideology, now I believe this ideology, and people debating and explaining things to each other in the comments. Like, not to be a total stan, and I don't want to give them ammo saying, oh, this girl's clearly brainwashed by China. But like, it's so obvious to me that these American apps, especially ones owned by Meta, are the ones causing all the harm. Like, they ruined our elections, and now it's just like everything is them trying to do press to like distract us from being mad at them for everything they've done.
Well, they don't want laws that actually hold them accountable. Like, that's what's so infuriating with this like idea. And what's so what I was getting so mad about this week, and like I get mad about constantly if you watch my videos, is like the left has completely abdicated the tech policy sort of conversation to the right. So the far right, really since 2015, has made tech so central to their power grab. And this is why we have like tech fascism now. But they not just like recruiting people in Silicon Valley into their ideology, but also like seizing power and control of these platforms, like Elon Musk buying Twitter, like forcing the sale of TikTok, all this stuff that they do, building their entire alternative tech ecosystem of Rumble, of locals, like all these like alternative. They have like a conservative
Kick, yeah.
Amazon, Kick, yeah. And we have nothing like that on the left. And in fact, leftists have been completely disengaged. Aside from, again, the people that have been directly affected, they're largely, most leftists are completely engaged. And every leftist lawmaker, like tech is not something they're talking about, as ICE is leveraging more technology than ever as well. And so I just think we need a baseline level of tech literacy at some point on the left if we're going to fight these laws and engage in these fights, because you do see these people. Like it should be totally, enough people on the left should understand Section 230. Again, like literally the foundational internet law. That somebody like Joseph Gordon-Levitt coming around and saying stuff like this should be so insanely unacceptable. Like he should be getting dragged so much harder than he is right now by everyone. But I think a lot of people don't even know. They're like, what is that? That's complicated. Well, shouldn't platforms be liable? I don't know. You know, it's like, oh my God, you don't even understand the basics. So then we get nowhere.
Well, something that I complain about all the time is that like the right is so good at like media, internet media, Roganverse, all of that stuff. And whenever I see a liberal celebrity or a comedy celebrity, all they do is say, Rogan cost us the election. Theo Von cost us the election. And I want to scream at these people because they're so much more famous and more powerful than I am. And I'm like, you should start a fucking podcast. Hello.
Yeah.
Or if not you, like help other people that are making podcasts like that on the left. But the problem is, and no one wants to say it, they are still waiting for Hollywood to pick them. So they don't want to invest in like Patreon podcasts. They don't want to make a new Cumtown. Like they could do that. And if that kind of thing got popular, then Joe Rogan would get less popular. Like that's obviously what needs to happen. But no, everyone just wants to pat themselves on the back saying, yep, I think Theo Von is stupid. Okay, great. But what are you doing about it? Nothing.
Or they do some stupid corporate podcast where you see a lot of this now where they accept a lot of money and they don't challenge power in any meaningful way.
Only celebrity guests. Only celebrity guests. They don't talk about Gaza, Epstein, anything that might upset anyone.
Yeah. Because it's not profitable. And fundamentally, it's a profit endeavor for all of them. And it's not about building power online. And that's what I think people do need to realize is like we do need to build power online, and the internet is the most powerful, communication and organizing tool of our time. And that doesn't mean that we, it also is just like a lot of these people that complain about social media all day on the left, they're like, Twitter is brain poisoning me. I'm like, okay, are you on Mastodon? Are you on Mastodon? Because I'm on Mastodon every day. You can check the receipts. Like that's a platform that is distributed. It's on the Fediverse. It's each sort of community self-moderates its own. Like that is all of these things that you claim that you want. You could be over there with us, and you're not. It's just me and a bunch of other like weird tech developers mostly, and like some journalists and stuff. But like, and that's not to say like I'm just saying like a lot of these people just kind of want to complain and they don't want to actually do anything about it. They don't want to organize against these laws. They don't even want to change their own user behavior. So I just don't think we're going to see. I don't know. It makes me very like frustrated because I'm like, wait, guys, please get it together.
And it's hard because like, I'm not just going to point my finger at everyone else. Of course, I'm also guilty of like, I joined Blue Sky and I joined Threads, but then more people like your stuff on Threads. So then I slowly stop using Blue Sky. So like I get,
it's hard to build an audience. And like, I'm not saying that you have to be on there building audiences. I'm just saying like, I think it's good to be intentional where you do choose to build your audiences. I think it's good to be intentional where you do choose to spend time. And and just be critical. Like, even if you are going to use and I use all these evil platforms, I'm on Twitter more than anyone, but also just like fight the laws then too. At least get involved. At least make it completely politically toxic to even talk about reforming or repealing Section 230.
Yeah. I would love more people to talk about it because like something that I worry about is that there's so many people out there who just, they grew up in America with a bunch of propaganda and they simply don't know about Gaza. Unfortunately, it's just the case they don't know about it. And so they might see someone talking about it and they're still thinking like, oh, is this person anti-Semitic or is this person
But not
like...
do you think, okay, I was like that because I grew up very propagandized and I had no idea about the Israel stuff.
I think a lot of people, honestly, I think a lot of
Yeah.
people still are like that, but they have learned to adopt like a liberal cocktail party, like, oh, it's so sad what's happening there, but they
Yeah.
don't actually know.
That's deeply depressing. I'm just kind of
Sorry.
like, how do you watch a live stream genocide
know.
and still feed denial? Although people are still denying like the pandemic, which is ongoing and killing all these people around us. So they'll deny anything. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like we do have to break people out of those bubbles, hopefully.
Yes.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think the internet, and you mentioned TikTok, like TikTok has been one of the most powerful tools to do that. And I think that's obviously, I mean, it is obviously why it got banned. But it is scary because if we don't have sort of alternative like information ecosystems to educate people and to get news out there, it's like we're just going to see more and more censorship.
Yeah.
So that's bad.
I know, but you're doing good stuff.
Just
Oh,
watch
I
my
wanna-
videos.
Just watch your videos. It'll all be fixed.
Yeah.
But seriously though, so you're an independent journalist. Do you get threatened with lawsuits ever? How do
Yes.
you? Yes. Okay.
That's why
So
I
then what
write for
happens?
mainstream media still. Like if I write
Mhm.
anything, like when I did that story last year about the Democratic dark money group that was paying, I don't know if
Yes.
you ever,
Yeah.
a
Of
wire.
course, I saw this.
I
Yeah.
know they made it like a huge story for 6 weeks. I was like, okay.
Well, I think
Um,
paychecks just came in a couple days ago because
saw that.
people were talking about it again, and it was like, really? I thought you guys talked about this already.
Well, the Kamala HQ, that sort of new group,
Oh,
that's
yes.
they're
The
running
hub.
a big paid Democrat media thing. And actually, right now
Yeah.
today, that Cory Booker had 100 centrist liberal influencers to Congress to, tell them a bunch of dumb stuff. I don't know if they got paid to be there or not, but I'm sure they got some reward for it. But anyway, so for something like that, because those are like litigious groups that are funded by billionaires, like I'm going to
Yes.
write it for and I write a lot for Zateo. I'm a columnist at Zateo. So
Love them. Yeah.
yeah, they're amazing. But I try to like, if I am going to do like investigative journalism, I try to do it I also just want someone to edit me. I'm not somebody that can do like, I love Ken Klippenstein, but like he has a full-time editor that like works with him. I don't like everything. I make everything myself. And so if I'm going to do reporting, it's like I need an editor to look it over.
Yes, that makes
you know,
sense.
So
the things where you feel like there's less risk of getting sued, you'll do independently on your website.
yeah, I mostly do like my newsletter is just like a roundup, and then my YouTube, I'm usually just like talking about things or doing interviews or whatever. And I'm not like, if there's something defamatory, I'm like, I try to be very careful about it. But again, this is why I care about speech law so much, because I want the ability to speak freely and to continue to report on the things I do. And I have a series on my YouTube called Free Speech Friday, where I talk about tech and civil liberties and tech policy and stuff. And like, I've definitely gotten messages from like platform representatives more. Like they wouldn't sue a journalist because that would be horrible PR, but it is like they do pay attention to what you're saying. And I do think that there's like a feeling that you shouldn't say, you know what I mean? Like you're not going to go. And I wouldn't want to be responsible either. Like I do try to like reach out to places for comment, if I'm misunderstanding them or something. But yeah.
And like, well, okay, so these chorus people, also the danger with stuff like that I feel like I don't see people talk about enough is like, it just takes some paid people to put out an idea. And then it's these well-meaning but ignorant people who aren't paid that then spread an idea. And that can be anything. That can be pro-Israel propaganda or any type of propaganda. And that's why I think it's so important for like people like me, comedians or creators, like to be making like the left media that combats it, because if you don't, like, it's just going to grow and grow and snowball this, all the right wing or centrist talking points.
They do get so much money, which is frustrating because there is no money on the left. Like,
no,
there is none. And it's hard when you see these people, like these centrists, getting, you know, just sometimes tens of thousands of dollars a month, if not, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, like for saying just pro DNC stuff and basically ensuring that you're never going to fundamentally question like the Democrats or imperialism or mention Gaza or whatever. Like, I think that's a bad system. And I think, I mean, the reason I wanted to do that Wired story too is just to have a conversation about transparency. Like, it's crazy that there aren't transparency laws around this, and the ones that we do have are not even being enforced.
Yeah. And so when the people are hating on you about that stuff, it's like they'll say, you know, these repeated talking points of like, oh, she's being divisive, or, oh, this is infighting, and that type of thing. And like, I was just watching one of your videos and you kept repeating over and over throughout the video, like, don't despair about this stuff because we can fight back. Like,
yeah, that's like the
you're
whole thing.
Really not someone that's like infighting and like causing chaos. It seems like your message is like, hey, let's all organize and fight against these rich losers. It's not like,
no,
hey,
also I'm an optimist. I'm like a
Yes.
delusional like optimist about technology. I love technology. I love like, I mean, this is the reason I'm a technology reporter, is because I like am a fundamentally like a tech optimist, not in the Mark Andreessen way. He says it in an evil way, but like in the sense that like I do think we can build a better world through technology. I would hope that everyone on the left would agree with that, although increasingly a lot don't, and understand why when you look at the tech industry. But technology as a, you know, as a concept is not bad. Like, even if these
Sure.
companies are bad, and like we can use technology to do a lot of amazing liberatory things. And I want people to like get involved and have a pro tech like sort of vision of the future for the left that isn't that has like a proactive message, you know, that isn't just like kill, you know, like kill this law, kill this law, kill this law, but like let's also put in place like amazing privacy laws. Like let's also put in, you know, let's also, by the way, like do antitrust enforcement. Like we don't prosecute. We lost. I couldn't believe last year I was getting so mad because we lost, you know, the two biggest antitrust cases that we've seen in years against Meta and Google. We had the chance to undo the Instagram deal, to take Instagram out of Meta's ownership. We had that chance last year and we lost it. And when we lost those cases, you know, and I'm not expecting every like leftist commentator to like cover tech news, but like to me, I'm like, how is that something that you guys aren't covering?
Yeah.
Because like that is something that we should be talking about. And we should say, wow, the government just fucked this. Like they really dropped the ball, because like we should be breaking up these companies. We should be regulating them in ways that actually affect their business models, that we can have a less profit-driven internet. But instead they say nothing. And then we get like this kind of like hold tech accountable slop from like Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah. And like that kind of propaganda can work easily on people, because so many people, they say, oh, my phone makes me crazy, or I spent too much time on my phone today and that makes me personally feel bad. So it must be bad for society at large. But that's kind of like,
well, they also like don't actually have any idea. Like, I mean, we know this.
Like that's like an incorrect conclusion, you know, like, yes, it makes you personally feel bad because you've been on your phone arguing. But as you say, like phones, they don't.
Well, you can use your phone in a million different ways. Like this is why the concept of screen time is like very silly. Fundamentally, people have a problem with the content. I'm all for people having healthier habits around interacting with people. I will spend all day fighting with people online sometimes, and then I'm like, why did I even do that? Like, yes, like it was yesterday, the day before. I was just like, these two people made me so mad, and I was like, fuck you, like da-da-da. And I was like, why am I fighting with these like random people? Like, like whatever. we
Mhm.
all have those days, but that doesn't mean we should dismantle civil liberties on the internet. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's
of
like,
course,
no.
yeah.
And also part of the reason we're feeling this way and we feel bad when we use our phone, we feel bad when we spend time on these platforms is because they're hyper capitalist hellscapes. And if we had, like, people talk a lot nostalgically about the earlier internet, but that was a less profit driven internet. And we can rebuild those systems, but we have to target the actual profit sort of centers of these tech platforms. And I have to say, also spend some time on these corny little sites, maybe maybe not Blue Sky, but maybe somewhere else, like somewhere that makes you happy. Maybe you find like a little community or a Discord or whatever, like, just try to spend time in places that like nurture you instead of just, the worst sort of places. But I like to argue sometimes too. So it's like, sometimes you just do want to be on Twitter and argue.
Sure, yeah. But
Oh, that's a
you don't
good reminder that says fighting online won't be worth it. I need that like tattooed on my forehead.
You've written a bit about how like dispelling some of these myths that phones do this and that to kids, or phones
They
make
don't, I mean,
girls hate themselves or
the
whatever.
broader issue that people don't understand is that there is absolutely no correlation between causal correlation, I should say, between social media use or phone use and mental health issues. It's just not. It's the same thing as like video games, which they used to claim about video
Yes.
games, and then they claimed
It'll
about
make you
television.
shoot up your school if you
I
play
literally
video
was not
games.
allowed to play, Nintendo because my mom was like, "You are going to be the Columbine shooter if you do that."
Yeah.
Like, but it's just like we see these moral panics all the time. What's true is that the way you use technology and the way you engage with media is very shaped by your emotional state. Just the way that if you're depressed and you want to go into your room and listen to like a Beatles album like 500 times in a row when you're, it's 1965 or something, and that at the time was very like stigmatized behavior. They were saying it was addicting. They were saying
Yeah.
there's coded messages. And then when television came along, it was like, well, the cartoons are super bright to keep kids addicted and whatever. And I'm not saying that that's not an issue. Like, every form of media is built to be engaging. That is what music does, right? It keeps us listening, which there was also moral panic about music and novels. Like, I'm not arguing that, but the concept of addiction actually makes you have less control. And that's the study that like landmark study that I covered from Caltech that was so revealing, was this massive study that came out last year that showed that the more people believe they are addicted to technology, the less control they have over their use of it. So it's a narrative that really helps these big tech companies in two ways. If you are pushing the idea of social media addiction, never use that phrase, but if you're pushing that, you're helping these big tech companies in two ways. One, you're making it harder for yourself to moderate usage, because instead of treating it like a habit and trying to develop better habits, which is actually the opposite of sort of how you treat an addiction, you take this sort of, you have this addiction framework, so you are less likely to moderate your own control. Second of all, if it's an addiction, then it's an illicit substance and it can be legislated, there's laws that we can use, laws that are like alcohol and cigarette laws, which are very authoritarian, which for good reason, right? Those are actual harmful substances. But if we treat speech and online content and media and we start regulating those like illicit substances, that's a huge problem. Especially because it's not a thing. Media addiction, and I know people will say, like, I mean, this is a big thing in the porn world, but like the majority of people that report porn addiction, there is no addiction to porn. They have very regressive views about their own sexuality. And so their usage patterns are actually completely in the normal realm, but they believe themselves to be addicted. And you see that a lot with this study, confirmed it with social media as well, where people will be like, I'm addicted. And it's like, don't tell yourself, the more you tell yourself that, the less control you have. And the more you're manufacturing consent for these really horrible laws. So just say, I have a really bad habit with using this phone. My media consumption habits are not great, and I'm going to take XYZ steps to change them. That is much a better outlook.
Yeah, it sounds like like self-destructive language. It sounds like the same as saying like, oh my God, I'm always eating junk food. I never exercise. Like, if your goal is to get slim, you should not be yelling at yourself about what a lazy freak you are all day long.
Yeah, I think just having a healthy, I mean, I don't even like the relationship with food because it's media consumption. And it's like, what are you doing on your phone? Like if you're messaging friends or FaceTiming, or I use my phone on like CapCut to make like funny videos and stuff to send my friends all the time. Like that's a great creative use of my time. Like I always have fun when I do that. And like I send it to my family members and stuff. And I make like edits of my nephews. That's great. That's also screen time. If sometimes I'm spending through it. That compared to yelling at someone on Twitter. Like those are both screen time and they're equal, but one is much more nurturing. Like so just find what you like to do online, and maybe it is just hanging out. Maybe it is watching a Twitch stream, that like makes you feel a sense of community. But like
exactly. And like I want to like put a pin on this point again, that like a lot of this stuff from the Heritage Foundation, it seems like they're just fucking with queer kids and trans kids because you're probably the only trans kid at your school. But if you go online, if you go on Discord, you could meet a community of other kids who feel the same way as you. And that saves lives.
Which is the whole reason they're trying to raise the social media age first to 16, and their long-term goal is 18, because they don't want these people exposed to gender stuff. Jonathan Haidt, who wrote The Anxious Generation, which is one of the most pseudoscience worst books ever. Like he collaborates with the Heritage Foundation. He's on the board of Barry Weiss's fake university. He's a far-right reactionary who said the most misogynistic stuff about liberal women. But he's also promotes the trans contagion idea, which is the idea essentially that like Instagram is turning your kids trans through content. And that we know that that's not true. We know that that's not how people become trans. And, he is the one that's primarily backing all of this stuff. He's the one that's getting on Ezra Klein, that New York Times has promoted repeatedly. Like, he has been so sort of ushered in. And I even see people on the left sort of support that. And it's like, guys, you're falling for like a psyop, literally. All of this is just about like hate, and you don't fall for that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how like, okay, this is my most controversial thing. Don't be caught next to me while I say this. I think there's a really big problem. Everyone hates it when I say this. Transphobic people in the media, they don't go after pro-Israel ones as much. Shoot me, I said it. Shoot me, I said it. That guy's invited on Ezra Klein.
He's a Zionist. I mean,
that Bill Maher has a fucking weekly TV show for years and years and years, gets invited on Kara Swisher to debate whether trans kids should exist, like invited by her. And we never see these articles condemning, oh my God, I can't believe they're platforming this transphobe. You don't see it as much if they are aligned on Zionism or other things that they like.
Well, they're all part of the same sort of establishment power structures. Like, I mean, Scott Galloway, who is a raging, horrible misogynist, who is a huge hardcore Zionist as well, and says a lot of just some of the most hateful misogynistic stuff messages that he gives to men. And he runs that podcast and makes tens of millions of dollars a year, with Kara Swisher. And yeah, they're never going to challenge power. I mean, they're both multi tens of millionaires, and those people they're not going to challenge the system. They exist to uphold the system. So they're going to engage with transphobes and other people that uphold the same systems, unfortunately. But it really is annoying. And you're totally right that there's a lot of overlap in those ideologies. There's a anti-trans hate group that I wrote about years ago back at the Washington Post in like 2023, I think. And it was like anti-trans was like sort of their main thing, but it's so funny because they had this whole like issue agenda where I was like, oh, you can just see how like every evil issue basically overlaps, They were also really hardcore, like COVID denialists. They were really anti-abortion. Oh my God, I just got an eyelash in my eye. But like all of these issues intersect.
I'm really going all over the place, but I just saw a note that I was like, oh yeah, I want to say this. So yeah, my whole thing of like, I want to call out showbiz people and comedian people more and not have people be so afraid of like, oh, I don't want to offend them. It's insane Jimmy Fallon had Sam Altman on his show.
Well, Jimmy Fallon has like the worst. Didn't he have like Donald Trump? Like, there's that famous clip. Like, he is always platforming, and he had promoted crypto.
It's a late night. Yes, they had like an NFT commercial basically with Paris Hilton on the couch. This is a late night comedy show. They should have stand-up comics, they should have musicians, they should have charming people and not people who are selling AI. Like, I don't even understand how these people get booked on that show.
I just think it's like, I know I hate the traditional entertainment world. This is like kind of why, sorry, my like eyelashes are falling out. I think the traditional entertainment world is so corrupt and so bad, and I've always like never engaged with it intentionally because I think that those people are the worst. Like, they will never speak out for anything. And so like I've always been more drawn to the internet. That's why I started on the internet and started covering the internet, is because it's like content creators also are the worst in different ways, but like there is something that's like anti-establishment to it because it is independent media fundamentally, and like Hollywood is just so, and like mainstream media, like you're talking about like NBC, corporate sort of CBS News, like they just really are like complicit in the worst sort of things about our media ecosystem. So yeah. But I know that if you work in that industry and you're a comic, that must be really hard.
Yes. And my other one I always complain about Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen was like a keynote speaker at an event teaching influencers how to combat images from Gaza, how to be like, no, that's fake.
Are you kidding me?
We have no idea how much he got paid for doing that. That was not a year into the genocide, but almost a year into the genocide. But everyone wants to be on Watch What Happens Live. Everyone wants to be on Bravo. So, I mean, the amounts that people got mad over that, mad over Riyadh, I feel like those are like kind of the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's so depressing. I don't know that much about the comedy world at all because I'm obviously like not in it, and it seems so hard, but it's like there's all these like political sort of a lot like play, like it's crazy. And I feel like you can be a lot more outspoken on the right than you can on the left, you know?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
But I hate that, and that's crazy. And you know, Andy Cohen's Andy Cohen, I guess. Like, he's not gonna he's not gonna like put his neck out, I think, for anyone. He's a rich, you know, executive.
He'll probably be coming out for Section 230 soon.
Oh God. Then I'll really go ballistic.
A good guy.
Yeah. I'll have to enlist some, you know, housewives or something to come out against him.
Yes.
Convince him.
Yeah. Well, I like those I've Had It ladies. They got their start on Bravo, and now I don't know if they would be allowed on Bravo.
Oh, definitely not. Probably not now. Yeah. They're iconic. I love them. Yeah. They're amazing.
Well, I don't want to take too much of your time. Is there anything else you want to plug? Everyone already knows who you are and knows that you write the terrific User Mag, but are there any videos or articles in particular you're excited about, or other people's stuff you want to plug?
I just will plug my Section 230 series on YouTube because I've been working so hard on it. The first episode just came out on my channel. It's called They're Trying to Kill the Internet, I think is what I like, always beta test a million titles and weird thumbnails. But like, I've been working so hard on it, and it'll give you like a primer on Section 230. So please watch it. I also have a live streaming channel as Taylor Lorenz live streams, and I've been live streaming about Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So yeah, check out my work, and I appreciate any feedback, and don't judge my thumbnails. Somebody was like, I do these like weird thumbnails that somebody was telling me that Canva uses all AI now. And I was like, wait, I thought that like the generate feature was not AI. I'm like, wait, it is AI. But anyway, my thumbnails are kind of weird, I think, but don't judge that.
Well, we all love your work. I don't know if you've been able to see the comments on the side or if just me and Forrest can see those, but everyone is such a big fan. Everyone loves your work.
Thanks,
a lot of people in the chat, I think, are very thankful for everything you've done for masking and COVID consciousness. So thanks for everything you do. And
you too.
See you later.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you for having me on and listening. This is very cathartic, like therapy section to like talk about this stuff. So thank you. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. What a dear. Forrest?
Yes, Mary?
Do you want to come on for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey.
Hello. That was so good.
He's cool.
That was great.
Yeah.
She's great. I love her stuff, and I do love seeing someone who's like, I'm on the left, and you know what? Like the internet's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, it is. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Look at this. Look at what
Because
we're
it does
doing
feel
right
like being
now.
like, you know what? Horrible books got published, so fuck the printing press.
We have to get rid of books.
Yeah, books are the worst. I'm sorry, books have been irretrievably ruined. Forget it.
Yes, you can't read books until you
Oral
turn
tradition only.
16. Well, okay. Let's all go to bed.
Let's all go to. Oh, we don't have that here.
So as you guys saw, if you were here at the very beginning, we are because in StreamYard, you can only upload so many images in one channel. So this is a Halloween channel.
Yeah, that was why we had this the ghostly starting soon screen.
But the other channel didn't have room for this background, so I had to go to the...
We could have just gotten rid of Sleepy Time Bear.
Sorry. Blog. I actually don't think we can play that game.
I hope you're hungry.
For dinner.
Because I didn't really have a real dinner yet. I had like crackers and nuts, and I'm not gonna have you guys guess because it's gonna take you guys a long time to get to crackers and nuts.
No, Blog, it is not pizza.
No. Ronan, I didn't realize you were in France. I've been checking out your YouTube comments. Thank you for watching my stuff. You rock. Okay, now let's go to bed.
Good night.
Bye.